And what's that lovely wood thing? Is that an arm wire? It looks like something out of Seinfeld. Is that it's a beautiful little piece.
The cabinet, it's got not for sale written on it.
Hello and welcome to another edition of Burning Questions. It's Breeders' Crown. No, it's not. It's not Breeders' Crown final night. It's an 8-race program at Tabcorp Park. Melton, the Inter Dominions on as well. We'll touch on that for question number 5. But I'll tell you what, it was a challenge getting through the form for Saturday night. But look, we'll see if we can find some winners. As I mentioned, Burning Questions and a brand new guest. His name's Shaun McNaulty. He's got the dirty Movember mo going. He said he started around late July. Nice professional setup there, and you're just looking $1 million, Shaun. How are you, mate?
Yeah, very good, guys. Yeah, thanks for having me on. I thought you've got a studio, so I've gone for the boardroom look. So see how we go.
I don't mind that. He's the chairman. We've already had you on. We're going to have to ask you some new questions because we had you on Trots Life. But anyway, we've got to move past it, build a bridge. Andy Gath is back with us after a short sabbatical, and he's thrown the cap on the K&A Racing, and it's just an interesting look for you, I reckon, Andy.
Well, I can change the cap. I was told to wear this cap, Matthews Petroleum, celebrating 50 years. So he's down to catch a wave. Maybe I should be wearing this one, I suppose.
I'll tell you what, maybe for each question, you just change caps. I like the idea. We'll do little costume changes. Burning Questions. It's an exciting platform. And Nikkita Ross, great to have you back as well. I trust that the sister's wedding went exceptionally well. Your Spotify playlist was a massive hit, I'm told. But now you're back where you belong on Burning Questions.
Yes, good to be back, Bon. I did have a little bit of FOMO watching you recording you and Toc from Emma Stewart and Clayton Tonkin's stable. That was a great show. So good to be back, and the wedding went really well.
Well, you just want to be happy you didn't have to carry the couch because Toc was he was in very bad shape. Clayton was just holding up most of it, and Toc was in a lot of bother. So that could have been you. We've got a new sponsor. I'm not going to reveal it just yet, but let's go with our first sponsor, first in best dressed. Whether you're celebrating a win or shoveling in the stables, you want your staff to look their very best. And you do that with uniforms from Hip Pocket Workwear and Safety. They have you covered for clothing, protective equipment, and plenty more, even hats maybe. Check out hippocketworkwear.com.au. First question for the Burning Questions. Is Hopeful the horse we thought she was? And if yes, will she prove it this weekend? Shaun McNaulty, you're the guest. We'll serve you first with your lamb cutlet. Hopeful Beauty we're talking about. Now, I'm going to be honest with you. The reason I probably downgraded Queen Alita in my thinking was the way Hopeful Beauty absolutely toyed with her one night at Melton. First 2 runs from a break, I can't get my head around it 100%.
Yeah, I mean, look, she's obviously showed dashes of brilliance, which, like those French horses, they take a bit of time to mature into the system. But, yeah, look, I think she's still a fair while away, like maybe another 12 months. But she's definitely, some of her performances have definitely shows that she can do it. But, maybe just a little bit inconsistency at this stage. But I'm sure, I'm sure the stable has obviously got an opinion of her. So they're always pretty close to the mark. So.
Does she win?
I don't think she's home and hose. I'm not sure what beats her, but yeah, look, she'll be obviously, she'll be thereabouts and probably obviously the hardest to beat anyway.
I asked you off air, Andy, whether you'd lost your razor because you got a little bit of stubble going, and then I've had to go up the dirty mow. I've just seen myself. I am disgustingly hairy. I'm going to look after that when I get home. Andy, Hopeful Beauty, what's our opinion?
Yeah, no, she's a very good mare, and you're talking about when she beat Queen Alita by 15 metres, and Queen Alita hasn't been beat since then, so she's the last horse to beat her. So obviously her best is very good. She is a little bit inconsistent at this stage. Coming over here, you're a February foal, you're always giving away a little bit time-wise to the competition you race against, but I think with Shaun, another 12 months, you'll see the best of her. She just needs a little bit more seasoning, but it's a really tricky race. That's pretty deep. There's a lot of horses in it that are going well and on the way up, so she's definitely the one to beat, but I don't think she's over the line.
Are you both saying, so Shaun, you'd prefer, at a short price, you'd take her on rather than back her?
Yeah, I think so. Like even there's a few horses that probably don't have the figure form, but they're actually nice horses, even like a Jewel in the Crown, those sorts of horses, and even Swiss Miss and that. But look, if she gets the lead, like she'll be hard to beat, obviously, so that's the spot to be, so.
Andy, Swiss Miss and Easy Pickings. I've got to tell you, when I first looked at it, I thought probably Easy Pickings is the better chance, and I see Kate's on Swiss Miss, so talk us through that part as well.
Kate actually not on Swiss Miss. She's actually suspended. So But I think
That's exactly what I said. So Kate was no, I actually didn't know that. So all right, who's the better chance then?
I think Swiss Miss. I think she's the better horse out of the two, and she's got the advantage of the barrier draw. We tried to get her in foal to Father Patrick, but it hasn't worked since. But yeah, she worked quite well today, and she's a little bit hot and cold as we know. But I think her best is, up to this race if she can sort of find a nice spot early.
She might not be a Catholic. Are they both going forward at the start?
Yeah, they both got pretty good gate speed, and I think they'll both go forward.
Okay, there's a lot to unpack there, Skeeter. I've asked 15 questions in the first burning question, but Hopeful Beauty, we'll start there.
Yeah, look, my opinion's probably been moderated just ever so slightly as she's moved through the grades bond. I was willing to forgive that last start, though. She obviously did a little bit of work early to work around to the breeze and just got a bit tired late. So like the other two have said, it's probably just that seasoned racing that she needs. And I think as she gets older, she'll get better. I don't think she's definitely over the line this week, and I'd probably be looking elsewhere if she does come up at a short price, because I think there's horses that are going really well in the race. Jewel in the Crown Assured mentions going to get the trip that she loves, a nice peg line run, probably behind the leader. Rules Don't Apply was a good winner last time, and Queen of Crime's another racing really well. So I'd probably be looking elsewhere, but she can definitely win the race because she's a really nice mare.
I've got her on top, but I'm going to be backing on with Shaun to some degree. I think I'll back a Jewel in the Crown each way, depending on the price. You've got to wait a fair while for those prices sometimes. Yeah. Question 2 of the burning questions is brought to you by the Fresh Connection, who export Australian fresh fruit. I love fruit. To more than 35 countries. I thought about being a fruitarian at one point. Headed up by Damien Glengarry, who is the export manager and does a magnificent job. The Fresh Connection specialise in citrus, table grapes, cherries and mangoes. Loving a mango. Mrs. has taught me how to cut them up. You're doing it in squares. Freshconnection.com.au. Second question, Skeeter. Does Don't Lie possess the pace to use a pole marking draw? I'm going to Andy last, okay, because he knows. But Don't Lie to Me we're talking about in that mare's race, which I already had a headache and I had to take 2 more Nurofen when I went to this race.
Yeah, of course you had to throw in this question because that meant that we had to go looking on the New Zealand website to try and find some gate speed.
And you can't find anything there either.
Because she hasn't had a draw to use it here. So look, on the New Zealand races that I found, she has okay gate speed, but I definitely wouldn't say she has brilliant gate speed. In saying that, I don't think it's the fastest front line that we've seen this weekend, so that probably aids her, and I think she can, she only has to leave the gate okay to hold a forward enough position and then take cover behind a horse potentially like a Belladonna Girl. So just given the front line isn't super fast and there's not a bunch of go forward leader horses in the race, I think that aids her, but only okay gate speed on what we can see, I think.
Is Monomia the one to beat in that race?
Yep.
Shaun, again, we don't know what we're talking about. Andy's the only one who actually knows. I've been through the Kiwi replays. You learn nothing. But anyway, I'm going to ask you anyway. Do you think she might have some gate speed, and who do you like in that race?
Well, I thought you were going to ask Andy before me, and that was going to help me answer the question. But anyway, that didn't work, did it? I don't think she does. But I'll probably be made a fool of. But anyway, I'm with Skeets a bit. There's not blistering front line. I've got, maybe Belladonna Girl, and even the 2 Lost 4 Words a chance. But I think Murph can really light his filly up when he wants to. She's probably not racing at her best, which makes it a bit harder, but she has got pretty good gate speed, and I think she's a chance if he decided to. Final
Piece we're talking about. I thought the last start run from Final Piece was okay. All right, the man who actually knows. Does she have any gate speed? Don't lie to me, Andy.
I have no idea. She's had a barrier draw since she's been here.
Yeah.
The only reference we can go on Maryborough last start, Kate did let her run out the first 100 and she was quite quick and really wanted to run the gate. And that's the first time we've actually, she's drawn 7 or back row every time she's been here. So I think she'll leave the gate quite good, actually. She's quite a fast horse. And, I expect that she, could probably hold off on barrier 1. It's an okay front line, but there's no blistering gate speed there. So just going on last week, I expect that she'll come out quite good and be able to hold a forward position.
No, I'm not going to take on Greg Norman, so Belladonna Girl straight at the top just wins. Can you win the race? Well, if you lead, I think if you're anywhere close in a race like that, you should be some sort of hope. She's good enough.
Yeah, no, she's a 3-year-old taking on older horses and racing her out of class, but I was sick of getting bad draws with her, so I chucked her in, hope knowing that we'd finally get a good draw with her. So, she's at the top of her game. She's given away a fair bit of class. There's some 80 raters there, and she's only 62 or something, so 63. But All the runs have been full of quality, and I expect that can hold up, should be pretty hard to beat.
A lot of muscles are 62 rated going in and into the Minion heat. Incredible stuff. We'll talk about that later. Monomia, the hardest to beat?
Yeah, no, definitely. She's going quite well, Monomia, and she's got that bit great turn of foot about her.
Are we all in agreement that Monomia is the one to beat, Shaun?
Yes, definitely.
I like the way you use skeets too. So we've got skeets, skeeter, skeets, skeet doggy. I don't know. We've got plenty now for Nikkita Ross. Right. Question 3. We haven't got a live read yet, but it's brought to you by APG. Not Andrew and Patrick Gath, but Australian Pacing Gold. Going to be doing a lot of work with them in coming months as we head up towards the sales. So great to have APG on board. And I've got no doubt I'm happy to write the live read if necessary. I'm a very versatile character. Question 3. All right. We'll go to you first, actually, Shaun, because you've already revealed this in a way. But who is Macca's claiming pride from Yorkie and the Hash? Who's the better chance in this up to $100,000 claimer, race 5 in the program Saturday night?
Yeah, I think it really obviously depends how the races run, but I'm sort of not, after last week, not as confident with Hashtag. So it's sort of more just see how he's going. Like, he is airborne, I do believe, but I think he sort of cut his wind off last up. We were a bit worried that he might have pulled up no good soundness-wise, but he's honestly run around his paddock full of himself. So for that reason, I think Yorkshire, just where he ends up in the run is probably the hard part. There looks to be a bit of speed there. So it'll be an interesting first 200, which might, or lead time, I suppose, which will probably tell us what's going to happen in the race, I suppose.
Is it going to be a genuine crack? Because we know Aussie Battler's very quick outside you, and Agility Bandit obviously is a massively interesting runner. But do you run out, and even if you get cross, try and put yourself in a position to maybe take over from there?
Yeah, I'll fully leave it up to Keza other than say I want to be up on the speed. But I think if you go back to Ballarat, three or four starts ago, Aussie Battler crossed him, but Greg was sort of holding his legs up underneath him and then just grabbed hold the last little bit when he wasn't going to cross the one on his inside. So, yeah, drawing next to us gives us our chance to keep underneath him. But I think being over the 2200, he's sort of been handing up, which you can't guarantee because he can get a bit on the chewy. But so I don't think it's fully off the table that if he does cross us, we can get there before the favourite, which will obviously be hard to beat. He's a quality animal. So,
Andy, do you want to change caps for this question?
I need to get
change. Yeah. There we are. Fantastic. I love being the director. Andy, what do you reckon about the claiming race as a whole? Like that, I love these races being on again, and particularly with full fields. But gee, it's another nightmare event trying to work out the winner.
Yeah, no, it's very tough, and it gives great opportunity for horses that have probably had injuries or coming back or finding it a little bit tough in the 3-4 ranks. That it just gives you the opportunity for horses to extend their racing life. But betting wise, they've all been pretty tough and hard to work out who's the winner. No one's been able to dominate. But firstly, is it Yorkshire or Yorkshire? Which one do I have to go with?
Shaun?
Oh, how would I know? I've only had him for 2.
It's not like he can tell you anyway, Shaun. To be honest, he can't go up and say, "What do you want to be called?" Yorkshire or Yorkshire? I'm going to go Yorkshire.
Just call him.
So I think Yorkie out of the two, he's one that can probably overcome adversity a little bit more than Hashtag, which Hashtag's been going terrific, but he needs a lot to go his way. So I think Yorkshire is the pick of Yorkshire is the pick of Shaun's too. But it's a tricky race and quite competitive, and again gives great opportunity to these horses.
I might give Michael Parkinson a text because he was from Yorkshire or Yorkshire. I don't have his number, do I? I mean, I'm not going to text him. Yeah, that's not happening. Skeeter, what do you reckon here? Clearly, we know Yorkie is the best of the two chances for Shaun, but very tough race. You get a little bit of mail, like you chat a little bit with the Western District crew. Have you heard anything about Agility Bandit you can reveal to us?
No, I'm not too sure, but it's no doubt he's the most interesting runner in the race, isn't he, Bon? Because, he's been off for a long, long time. Obviously, they've had their issues with him. I thought his trials were quite good. So it'll be, I don't even know if they go forward or back first up. So, look, it's going to be really interesting. But, I was definitely with Yorkshire. I think he's got that gate speed. And I thought even if Aussie Battler does get across at the start, over the middle trip, potentially they might take a sit behind Yorkshire if he's there and up there on the premises quick enough. So I think if Yorkshire can get to the fence, we know what really good sectionals he can run. So I think he's going to be a great chance of winning the race. If he can find the fence, he can win it. If he doesn't, but I think that just aids his chances. But it's a really competitive race with obviously the sit sprinters off the back row. So I think it's there could be some speed on early. It's going to be a great race, this one.
Are you in the freak out room, what we call the freak out room at Harness Racing Victoria?
Yep.
My old home. Any of my clothes there?
Yeah, there's a couple of jackets in the corner. I'll bring them on Friday.
I can't pick them up later.
Phones.
Well, I actually lost a laptop during the week, but it just got returned.
There's 3 coffee cups in front of me as well. They're probably yours as well. I'm tipping, Bon.
Along with the 15 on my desk. Andy, just quickly before we move on, sometimes you look at a horse like Jillaby Bandit. I'm going to watch the market, of course, but you think, oh, well, it can't be going that good, or there must be something a little bit awry that they're willing to put him in a claimer. From your perspective, have you put horses in claimers before that are still going great, and you just think to yourself, I've got to find an option, or is it always because they're not where you want them to be?
No, I think it's because you're looking for an option. And actually, Diamonds and Cash, I had him in a claimer in for 18,000, and the claimer didn't stand up, and then he come out and won 3 of his next 4. So I would have looked good if someone claimed him and done that to me. But yeah, so no, I think it's just given an option, and the price obviously, they've lowered the price obviously to get a front row draw, which these races, they're races for Metro money, so you probably force your hand a little bit to put a little bit lower price on to get the good draw. Some other horses like Soletic and Birdie Winkle, it doesn't really matter so much with their price because they're sit sprinters and they're probably happy to draw the back row. So I don't think anyone's putting them in to lose them, but I think you have to take in the barrier draw, which when you determine what price you put on them.
Did you see what Shaun McNaulty did? He was playing the prices right. He's put him in for 19 and 34,000. I'm surprised he didn't put it in for 32,964 just to see if he could squeeze in. Amazing stuff, but pretty clever. I like it, actually. Question 4 of the burning questions. Yes, Andy?
I said he's got the Interpy Mo going.
Oh, Terps. I mentioned that to Shaun on the radio today. There's no doubt. There's a good chance he doesn't know who Interpy is. He's gone with now, unfortunately. The last of our burning questions, no. The penultimate is brought to us by Falvo Fruit Specialist in table grapes since the 1960s. Michael and Josie Falvo were keeping the tradition going, God bless them. And everyone loves their grapes. Keep an eye out for Falvo Fruits. You'll love them. All right, we'll make it easier for everyone this time. We'll go to Andy first about his horse. Does the Dream, Pacifico Dream that is, get launched at the start, and will he find the front, Andrew?
I don't think he'll find the front. He's actually only got reasonable gate speed, really, and there's a fair bit of speed inside him. So, he'll come out as quick as he can, but unless they're going to hand up to him, that's the only way he's going to find the top, in my opinion.
This is not a really fast front line. I don't think he'll find the front either, and I know he hasn't got brilliant gate. He sort of looked like he did when he was younger a little bit, but often got the front just because he was the best horse, but it's not a really fast front line.
No, Josh Duggan's driving him, and will be instructed to come out as hard as he can and look for the front row, but unless it's gifted to him or he works hard to get it, it won't be through his natural gate speed that he'll get it.
Who's the hardest to beat?
I'll go with you, Major Roll.
Yeah, I've had a bet. Come on, Shaun. They tell me what a good judge you are. I want you to tell me that you like Major Roll as well. Pacifico Dream, for a start, can he win from the breeze? And beyond that, who do you like in the race? Say Major Roll.
Yeah, well, funnily enough, Major Roll, I think he'll lead and win. I don't think Pacifico Dream can win from the death, but there's a few with pretty good speed off the back row. So if it was a bit of a war, they'd be there waiting. But you can't say he can't because he is a good horse. But no, I'm Major Roll, massive on Major Roll, but you've got the 10, so I'm filthy about that. Oh,
well, I mean, everyone's got accounts. I mean, it's not to me to actually go and activate the accounts for you, for crying out loud. Skeeter, thoughts? Can you be with me as well? Because that'd be fantastic.
I think he's a great chance, Major Roll. He's been going super. There's no doubt about that. And I'm with Andy. I'm a little bit dirty that you didn't come to Shaun and I beforehand, because then we would have looked smart when Andy agreed with us about Pacifico Dream. But yeah, I don't think he can probably find the front either. I just think there's enough speed inside him. I thought that Somewhere Secret might be able to kick up enough, and Spellbound potentially finds the top, but works to the top. But yeah, it's hard to see Pacifico Dream in front, I think. And then things get a little bit more difficult if he's forced to face the breeze. So it's going to be an interesting little one. Obviously, if they go hard early, the horses off the back, I think Tarot Sane and Better Be the Bomb have both been going really well their last couple. So there's plenty of horses that can win.
I feel sick after my last couple of weeks because all you brilliant minds agreeing with me, and then I'll lose again. And I just don't. I'm finding it harder and harder to get over it. Last question for the burning questions. And we're turning our attention to the Inter-Dominion Series, which begins in Menangle on Saturday night. Skeeter, are the pacing ID heats as straightforward as the market suggests, or could there be an upset?
Yeah, well, I think the first one is, I think King of Swing from that draw leads and wins. I suppose we need to remember as well, they are only heats and there's a grueling couple of weeks ahead of these horses. So it definitely looks King of Swing's race. Things get a little bit more interesting for the next two. Expensive Ego, obviously, of that second row draw. I still think he's the one to beat, but then you've got a horse like Max Delight, who, as we know, has been going really well down here. So I wouldn't be as confident with Expensive Ego, but still the one to beat. And then again, things get even more open in the last heat with Spirit of St. Louis. Again, the draw aids him, I think. He was around $2.70. But, you know, if Triple Eight's anywhere near back to his best, he will need an inch of luck. So I think the market's probably spot on in terms of the horse's chances. And the last heat's probably the most open.
Andy, talk to us about what you do going into round one of an Inter-Dominion Series. You got to get enough points, but you don't want to cook the horse and all the rest of it. What's the balance you've got to strike? And do you see there being an upset in any of these heats for the paces?
Well, firstly, I don't think there'll be any upsets because there's not a lot of depth in the races, and I just think the big horse, the favourites will sort of get all the favours and be too good. I just think have the mindset. You just got to treat it like a normal race, really. I know there's a big, people say you've got to look after him, but if you look after him, you might not get enough points too. So you just got to drive the race how it presents itself. Again, you don't want an absolute slaughter of your horse, but, if you're back in the field and they're going slow, if you don't make a move, you won't get any points anyway. So you still just got to drive the race how it presents itself. And, most horses do handle the Inter-Dominion pretty good. You don't want a tough run every run, but, the good horses can really cop it. So, personally, I've been involved in a few of them, and obviously I don't drive in them, but always just give me drivers the instructions, just drive the race as a normal race, and whatever happens, happens.
You parked up in a slightly different spot. I'm just feeling there's a different ambience around you today. Is this a different parking spot for you today or not?
No, I'm over one than what it normally is. So, yeah, I'm about 2 metres from my normal park, sorry.
Okay. Just changing things up a little bit for feng shui. What do you reckon, Shaun? Any upsets in these Inter-Dominion qualifiers?
If there's one, I reckon Robbins Playboy is a nice horse. Got plenty of speed, and it needs the right run. It might maybe not, the first heat mightn't be its go, but I think it's a pretty nice horse. Been running good races over in New Zealand, and they missed the New Zealand Cup. I'm pretty sure with it. Now I think I really like this horse. I think it'll suit racing over here.
You were sick as Andy. Do you watch all the New Zealand stuff as well? Like you were sicko as well. You're just lying in bed watching replays of New Zealand harness racing.
Not sure it's possibly that sick, to be honest. Nah, I follow it, but not as much as I used to. But especially, I do follow the good races, obviously.
And what's that lovely wood thing? Is that an arm wire? It looks like something out of Seinfeld. Is that it's a beautiful little piece.
The cabinet, it's got not for sale written on it.
Everything's for a price. That's why the horses and the claimers, Shaun. Everything for a price, mate. Best bets. We'll start with you, Shaun. What's the best on the program? We've got to be very careful because if it's too short, Skeeter gets pretty smart arsey next week. So, what's your best on the card?
I'll go Major Roll.
I feel honestly ill at the moment. I just want the money. All right, Andy. No, we'll go to Andy last. Skeeter, your best on the card?
I'm kicking off race one. I'm going Rossini Bon. I thought he was really good last time after doing a fair bit of work early. So I think he finds a suitable race here, can work to the top, and he'll take some catching from there.
Major on my best value. I won't go Julie Sylvester just in case it's too short. I might say Mona Mia in the mare's race. I think she'll find a way to win even from an awkward draw. Andy?
Well, I agree with Skeeter. I'm going with Rossini in the first. I think he'll lead, and he went terrific last start. I just might be no 27-1 out the gate this week like last week, and I think it'd be too good. And just with one of mine, just each way, probably be good odds, but just going on his track work, Eureka's work's been terrific for the last fortnight, so I think he's a good each way hope.
Where's he going to be, Breeze?
I don't care where he is, as long as he's in front at the finishing line.
Brutal stuff. What a great return from Andy Gath. How wonderful. Well done to you, Andy. Do you want to chuck the other hat on quickly to say goodbye?
Yeah, I better put it on. Probably no one wants to see. I got about 3 haircuts left in my lifetime, but most times people see me with a hat on, so.
Yeah, I think we're saying different things to the hairdresser when we go there. Well done to you, Andy Gath. Well done, Shaun McNaulty. Great debut from you.
Thanks, team. Thanks for having me.
And good on you, Skeeter. Just grab those clothes and I'll pick them up from HRV a little bit later.
No worries, Bon.
That's been Burning Questions. We've got even more sponsors. If you want to get involved, well, go to Bianca Walker, go to Jessie Gray, because spots are running out for the Burning Questions. Best show in the Southern Hemisphere for racing of any code. That's been another episode. Hopefully some winners. And if Major Roll doesn't win, I won't be back next week.